All right, can you hear me? This just may not work today. Hi Heidi. You can hear me? Oh my gosh. Okay. Fantastic. All right. So, just give me 1 second. Bear with me, guys. I'm having technical difficulties here myself. Okay. Hi, everyone. Okay, I see your messages now. All right, so what I was saying was this, okay? Yes, I'm going to be reading from my teleprompter, so I'm going to be looking over to the right, but this is what I prepared for today, okay? So Earth is now moving through one of the most, significant transitions in recorded and unrecorded history. Humanity stands at a crossroad where the planet itself begins to divide, not physically and not geographically, but energetically. Okay? This division is what many are calling the bifurcation of Earth. It's a moment when the collective reality branches into two distinct perceptual timelines. Okay? These timelines are not separate planets. Rather, they are divergent experiences of the same environment formed by the frequency of the consciousness living within it. For countless cycles, Earth has been engulfed in a dense fear-based frequency, what the Taigetans describe as a long negative temporal period. During this cycle, humanity collectively manifested realities anchored in scarcity, fear, conflict, and illusion. From a higher vantage point, these were not the result of fate or punishment. They were the natural outcomes of consciousness vibrating at a certain level. In a universe made entirely of frequency, energy, and perception, every person continuously co-creates reality through emotion, thought, and belief. I've got a lot of okay, I guess I'm gonna have to get some moderators in here. Okay. So, where was I? Okay. Reality is an agreement of perception, and when billions agree on the same low frequency narrative, a dense world emerges. But cycles end, and this one is ending now, okay? Waves of higher frequency energy are arriving from the galactic center. Waves that the Taigetans have openly discussed as detectable in their instrumentation. These waves are not mere astrophysical curiosities. They are frequency information on currents that interact with consciousness fields of planets and civilizations. When such waves meet a world, they raise the baseline frequency, amplifying everything within it. They magnify clarity for those aligned with clarity, and they magnify distortion for those holding distortion. In this amplification lies the mechanism of the bifurcation. As the planet's energetic environment rises, consciousness on Earth begins to polarize. Individuals who've done their inner work, those questioning the narratives, healing trauma, seeking truth, and moving towards self-responsibility and authenticity, find themselves naturally tuning into a higher frequency of reality. They begin to experience more synchronicity, more coherence, and more inner peace. Life just feels lighter. Solutions appear. The darkness seems less binding, and they start perceiving a world that reflects their inner clarity. However, those attached to fear, external authority, victim mentality, rigid belief structures, or emotional stagnation experience a different amplification. Their inner fear becomes outer chaos. Their inner confusion becomes outer instability. Their world becomes darker, more fragmented, more overwhelming, because their vibration anchors them into the lower branch of the timeline. Thus, two Earths emerge, not by force, but by resonance. The bifurcation is the natural result of consciousness interacting with an accelerated energetic environment. When reality itself becomes more malleable, people's internal states dictate their external experiences more rapidly and dramatically. The planet does not split into two physical spheres. Instead, the interpretation of the planet diverges. It is possible that it's already happening, that two people living in the same household inhabit different perceptual realities. One sees awakening, the other sees collapse. One feels hope, the other feels dread. Each is perceiving the timeline that matches their frequency. In Taigetan terms, these timelines are not predetermined densities. They are branching sequences of events formed moment by moment through free will. Timeline selection is not a singular choice made on a specific date. It is an ongoing vibrational process guided by thought, emotion, intention, and awareness. This is why the Taigetans emphasize no external force, okay? No extraterrestrials, no spiritual guides, no governments can shift you to the positive timeline. Only consciousness can. The bifurcation also explains the growing split in human perception. Some people feel an unmistakable sense that something is changing, an intuitive knowing that society cannot continue as it has. They sense a loosening of the old matrix, a soft unraveling of systems built on deception and control. Others cling more fiercely to those same systems, defending them emotionally because they feel their world slipping away. From the outside, it appears as polarization. Energetically, it is timeline separation. The Taigetans often describe this as Earth exiting the negative cycle and entering a positive timeline. But positive does not mean utopian or easy. It means aligned with natural cosmic flow, truth, awareness, sovereignty, compassion, coherence. It means a timeline where consciousness evolves instead of stagnates. A timeline where humanity begins to remember its nature as source experiencing itself. A timeline where fear loses its power because people stop feeding it with belief. This is the meaning of the bifurcation, okay? A world built on fear will continue for those who remain in resonance with fear. A world built on awareness will emerge for those who align with awareness. Both are valid experiences within the universe of free will. No one is forced into either branch. Each moment is an opportunity to shift. This planet-wide divergence is subtle at first, but it becomes more pronounced as the energies increase. Eventually, the two collective experiences become so different in resonance and interpretation that they no longer overlap. Their realities drift apart through perception, manifestation, and emotional coherence. The old Earth becomes a dense timeline of control, conflict, and collapse. The new Earth becomes a higher frequency timeline of awakening, self-responsibility, unity and diversity, and conscious creation. Which Earth you live in depends entirely on your vibration, okay? But your internal frequency generated by the sum of your emotion, thoughts, intentions, and self-understanding. Humanity is now standing at the threshold of this split. Some interpret it as chaos, others as liberation. Some feel everything falling apart, others feel everything coming together. Both are true because both experience belong to different branches of the same collective conscious fractal. The bifurcation is not the end of the world. It is the end of a cycle of unconscious creation. It is the beginning of a conscious choice. It is the moment Earth releases the density that held it in a negative timeline and opens the doorway to a higher path. Okay? Two timelines, one planet, one choice made at the level of vibration, and each soul decides for itself. So basically what I'm saying is that we're not, the Earth isn't going to suddenly change into this, utopian planet, okay? The changes that happen are inside of us with our perception. Okay. I prepared something else here for you. Okay. So, let me fix my iPad here. It's just a little crooked. All right. So today I really wanted to talk about awakening and false ascension. You hear awakening thrown around quite a bit these days in metaphysical circles, but what does it actually mean? Well, waking up in the deepest sense is not just about becoming aware of the corruption, the deception, or even metaphysical truths. It's about shifting your point of perception, moving from a passive player in a programmed reality to an aware, sovereign consciousness that questions everything, feels everything, and chooses its own frequency in every moment. And once that shift begins, even in the smallest way, the world you thought you lived in starts to peel back like a dissolving mist. You begin to notice that nothing is as solid as it pretends to be. Not the institutions, not history, and not even your identity. You start to see that the collective reality is constructed, maintained, and constantly reinforced, so that no one asks the very questions that awaken them from it. Awakening at first can feel strange, almost disorienting, as if a veil has been lifted too quickly and your mind is scrambling to make sense of the light. You look at the world and notice that most people are moving through their days inside of loops, repeating the same emotional patterns, the same fears, the same reactive scripts. You see how these loops are fed by systems designed to keep consciousness contained. You feel the static around you, the noise, the pressure to return to sleep, but there is something inside your chest that refuses to contract again. Something ancient, some part of you that remembers, okay? Waking up is not only about understanding the illusion. It is about remembering your multidimensional nature. You start to sense the parts of you that exist beyond the body, beyond this timeline, beyond the narrow lens of the human experience. You begin to recognize messages that arrive through dreams, through intuition, and through moments of sudden clarity that will feel like someone whispering behind the curtain of your reality. You feel your soul group close, watching, waiting for you to look within. You feel guidance that does not come from outside you, yet feels familiar, and your awareness expands, not upward into a fantasy of ascension, but inward into an ever-deepening knowing. Awakening is not necessarily clean or elegant. It can be uncomfortable at times, but not because higher frequencies are harming your body or because you are receiving mysterious cosmic upgrades. The discomfort comes from within, from seeing yourself clearly, feeling emotions you once suppressed, and facing patterns you avoided. This inner integration can feel raw, sometimes intense, because you are expanding your awareness into parts of yourself that were previously unconscious. The friction is emotional and psychological, not energetic punishment. And this inner honesty becomes the doorway, not the setback. okay? Spiritually, waking up is about adopting new beliefs and letting go and releasing every belief that was never yours, okay? It's not about becoming love and light in the way that the program spirituality teaches. It's about authenticity, clarity, and alignment with your own essence. You stop performing. You stop pleasing. You stop shrinking. You begin to speak with your own voice, okay? Because, you know, you can no longer tolerate being untrue to yourself. And in that moment of honesty, the universe around you reconfigures. You start to embody your awareness. You live it. You set boundaries in both the physical and the non-physical. Your thoughts become cleaner, your intuition sharper, your emotion is clearer. You begin to stabilize your energy, not because you escape the world, but because you move through it with understanding, and something shifts. You feel yourself becoming sovereign, not a concept, but a tangible reality. And then you realize something even more profound. Awakening does not remove you from the game. It places you directly in the center of it. The matrix notices you, some energies resist you and test you, and some welcome you. You become visible to realms that were previously hidden behind the veil of unawareness. You attract resonance and you repel distortion. You learn to navigate both sides with calm presence and sharp perception. This is where the real mastery begins. To wake up is to remember who you are. Not human, not limited, and not broken. You are a conscious, eternal traveler moving through layers of reality, choosing your experiences with intention and clarity. It is the return to your natural state, the one you carried long before you entered this world, the one you will carry long after you leave it, okay? Awakening is not the end point. It is the first breath of your life. Now let's talk about ascension, or should I say false ascension in a way, okay? People talk about ascension symptoms as if headaches, body aches, and mood swings are proof that their frequency is rising or their DNA is upgrading. But discomfort by itself is not a sign of ascension. It is usually emotional material surfacing, nervous system stress, or unprocessed patterns coming up during awakening. These experiences are real, but they are not cosmic downloads. Consciousness evolves through clarity and awareness, not through unexplained physical symptoms. When your frequency rises, you become more aligned and present, not physically ill. Discomfort becomes meaningful only when you understand its source, not when you label it as an ascension symptom, okay? When the body changes, it changes for a reason. When the mind feels compressed or overwhelmed, there is a reason. But none of these reasons require an ascension narrative. They don't require invisible upgrades or cosmic downloads. The body responds to stress. It responds to sleep patterns. It responds to diet, emotions, pressure, and unresolved internal conflicts. These things are very real, and people often avoid them by blaming the discomfort on a spiritual shift. It becomes an escape from accountability rather than an understanding of the true self. The truth is that consciousness does not have to evolve through pain. It evolves through awareness. It evolves through clarity. It evolves through decisions. When your frequency rises, you do not get sick. You get more present. You get more honest with yourself. You become more sensitive to what it is true, okay? What's true and what's false. You become more aligned with your own energy. These things do not give you nausea and chest tightness. They give you peace, okay? People cling to ascension symptoms because they want to feel like something big is happening to them. They want the reassurance that their discomfort means progress. I was just checking the messages, okay? Okay. Discomfort can just be discomfort. It becomes meaningful when you understand it, not when you label it with a cosmic sticker. Real growth is quiet, it's steady, it's grounded. It does not need drama, it does not need symptoms. It shows in your choices, your awareness, your frequency, and your presence. I've always had an issue with the word ascension. The moment you hear it, it carries this idea that you must reach something or get somewhere in order to become what you already are. It creates a vertical ladder in the mind, a spiritual staircase where you start at the bottom and desperately try to rise toward the top. It turns consciousness into a destination instead of a state of being. The word itself is built on a silent judgment. It suggests that where you are now is not enough, implies that you are lacking something essential, that you are not complete until you rise above your current experience. It encourages people to chase an imagined future version of themselves instead of understanding the power they already hold. It pulls the mind out of presence and into a constant struggle for improvement. The irony is that true spiritual growth does not feel like going upward. It feels like going inward. It feels like remembering rather than climbing. It feels like letting go of limiting beliefs rather than adding them. It feels like becoming transparent to yourself. There is nothing vertical about that. That is depth, not height. Ascension also traps people in comparison. If there is an upward path, then naturally someone will place themselves higher or lower on it. It becomes a silent competition. Who vibrates higher? Who is more awakened? Who is closer to the light? It feeds ego while pretending to dissolve it. Okay? Consciousness is not a ladder, it is a field. You do not ascend into it, you relax into it, you remember it, you become aware of what always was there. When you stop trying to reach a peak, you finally see the landscape that was already around you. This is why the word ascension never sits well with me. It pushes people into striving and reaching rather into presence and awareness. It makes them feel like they must escape their current state instead of mastering it. It describes a journey of constantly seeking when the real journey is one of remembering. So, that's what I have for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to try to look at some comments. No, or not. Have I ever watched Alabar Jones' video of removing, I don't know why am I, have you ever watched Alabar Jones' video of removing an innermost layer of the solar system? No, I have not. Sorry. I don't have any comment on that. Greg Wolf asked me, have I met so-called angels on the astral? Also, are deceased ascended masters able to clear demons as Alabar is doing? Have I met so-called angels on the astral? Yeah, they're all over the place, honestly. Also, deceased ascended masters able to clear demons as Alabar is doing. Look, I don't believe in ascended masters. Okay, I think the ascended masters are on Earth right now, incarnated as the star seeds. That's where I think the ascended masters are. I don't really believe in that concept. I think that's a new age concept of ascended masters. I think it goes along with ascension, ascension, and I just talked about all of that. I just talked about my thoughts on ascension and all of that. So. Savage Magician, knowing what you know and what you're experiencing, what's your thoughts on Rudolf Steiner's work? I don't know Rudolf Steiner. I'm sorry. I don't study other people's work really. I'm just here to put forth the Taigetan and the Urmah perspective from my sources. Love the work. Joining the Patreon. Well, thank you, Savage Magician. I appreciate your support so much. You know, what's your perspective on the biosphere, and we can do what we can do to heal it? And you know, the biosphere, I think you're talking about Earth. The best thing that we can do is to really, you know, awaken ourselves internally. That's the best thing we can do for Earth, and connect to the Earth and heal it through intention. Hi, Jasmine, if you're still here. I find nanotech in my blood. What do I think about it? You know, we all have some sort of nanotech. They've been spraying it down on us for decades now. How about Atlas 3i? You know, I talked about 3i Atlas. I just did a video on that. You can go and check it out on my YouTube. What I saw in the astral was that it is a Federation SSP joint operation to steal people's attention. Angels in the astral have different hierarchies. Guys, angels are, I mean, there's hierarchies in the government, in space. In space, there's governmental hierarchies, okay? The truth is that there is no, you know, there is no better or worse or more awakened or less awakened or whatever. It's all a personal experience. It's all, you know, we're not here to compare one to another. The hierarchies, I think I did a video on that called Breaking the Chains of, you know, the Gatekeepers, because that's the way that I see hierarchies. I see hierarchies as gatekeepers, and you just push your way past them. You just, you know, deny them what they want. What they want is to control you. Hierarchy is all about control. Hi, are you enlightened? Just curious. I appreciate your openness. You know, I don't really think about myself in terms of enlightened or not enlightened or whatever. I mean, at moments, I guess I'm enlightened, and at other moments, I'm definitely not. So I'd say it's a flux, you know? I can't say, you know, like I'm an enlightened person or whatever. I see what I see. I call out things for what I see, you know, the way that I see them, and that's it, you know? I don't know if I'm, you know, I don't know how much stuff, honestly, I'm 100% correct on, or there's obviously things that I don't know and things that I get wrong. And when I recognize those things, I tell you guys, hey, I messed up on this or that or whatever. So I don't know. I can't really answer that question. I think it's a new age question, you know, a new age type of, you know, idea. Are you enlightened or whatever? Do you know a good way to awaken good friends that are holding tightly to old structures? Well, you can only awaken anybody by vibrating at a high frequency. Not necessarily by talking to them or, you know, trying to convince them of this, that, or the other, but literally by vibrating at a high frequency, they're going to reflect that. Thank you, San Fran Halen. Okay. All right, well, I guess that's it for questions. Have I ever met up or joined Alabar team on any operations? Once. I went on one mission with him. It was very insightful. Can I explain a bit about the subconscious? Why it is possible for external entities to lock into our subconscious to trigger or guide us? How to save us? Okay. The subconscious is, a part of you that you don't have conscious control over. So it just makes sense that you're going to have, it's like a blind spot. Okay. But there are other beings that are very much more advanced psychically, they're very much more advanced than us, and like, reptiles, for example. They're more psychically advanced than humans, than Earth humans, okay? And there are other beings also, other races that are more advanced, like the tall grays, the Atorthans. They are freaking mind control freaks. And what they do is they target your subconscious because it's a weak spot. It's a weak spot for us. So that's that. How do you access your true memories? Well, you can do it. You can use imagination. Imagination isn't really like making something up. Imagination is actually going to help you vibrate your frequency at the level of the, what people call the Akashic record or whatever. There are layers of memory, and you can use your imagination to access those layers of memory. Okay? Can one be blocked off from astral projection? Yeah. Yeah, one can be blocked off from astral projecting. In fact, most people are. Most people are. Not even all people in space can astral project. It's not that common of a thing even in space. Any clues from Irma about the situation up there recently? There is a lot of conflict going on up there energetically. I think that the Irma are doing what they can, but I also believe that the Irma believe it's up to the star seeds. What happens on Earth is up to us. So they are monitoring the situation. They're not going to like step in any major way because that's not the nature of the game. The nature of the game is for us to see what we can do. You have to be inside of the game in order to change it. And so that's what we're all doing here. Do I use mantras or affirmations? Absolutely. That's a great question. The affirmation or the mantra that I've been using recently is super powerful. It is, I am fearless, I am powerful, I am sovereign, I am free. I am fearless, I am powerful, I am sovereign, I am free. That really opens up my aura, so to speak, and it reinforces my shields, really. It prevents, synthetic telepathy from hitting my field. And does a bunch of great stuff. So that's one of the affirmations that I use. Hi, Nicholas St. Germain. All right. Yes, and that makes you limitless. Well, let's see, what else can I talk about? So, the New Age was created by the CIA, and it was created to control the spiritual awakening and to manipulate the spiritual awakening of people on the planet. Okay. So there's a lot of these new age, concepts and words being thrown around, and one of them is ascension. And I just talked about that. Thoughts on light language? Some say it's infiltrated. Not what I feel. Yeah, I mean, I think that light language, I use it. It's a very personal thing. I'm not like making videos of me doing my light language and putting them out there on YouTube or whatever. As far as it's being infiltrated, well, the people that are saying that light language is infiltrated, well, that's their experience. Maybe their own light language has been infiltrated, but that doesn't mean that that's true for everybody. That's absolutely ridiculous. I am sometimes I'm meditating and a huge light literal visual light will come on in my third eye and my heart, and I'll just like boom, and I'll literally sit up in bed and start speaking another language. So yeah, no, I don't think that light language is infiltrated. I'm with you, gracious Sunchild. You like that mantra, guys? Can I personally astral project to a place that I intend to go with great accuracy? Sometimes. That's the whole goal, especially if I'm on a mission. When I was doing missions with Sophia, I was able to do that on a very regular basis. But she would also help pull me out of body, so I was getting extra help there. Have I seen non-duality? Yeah. When you get into the higher realms, even the AI consciousness is integrated with the regular, organic consciousness. It's all just consciousness. That's in the non-dualistic realms. So yes, I've definitely experienced that. All right, another couple minutes, guys, if you have any more questions. But that's kind of it for today. I appreciate all you guys showing up. What's the difference between OBEs and astral dreams? I mean, An out-of-body experience is literally when that's a really hard question to ask because they're both coming out of the body. So that's a really difficult question. And I'm not sure what you mean by astral dreams. All dreams happen in the astral. All dreaming happens there. Is there a plane above the astral, so to speak, like mental planes and other planes of existence? No. The astral plane is the ether. It is source. It is all that exists everywhere. So the astral plane is the mental plane. All planes are mental. All of them. Is duality just like another video game that consciousness has created? That's exactly what it is. Okay? We can't have these experiences without duality. So Source, entertaining itself, has created all of these characters and scenarios and, is using duality to forget. So, it's using the illusion of separation in order to have experiences within this matrix. And within, you know, even outside of this matrix, there's another matrix before you get to source. But yeah, no, is duality like another video game? Duality is the video game. That's what duality is. You taught yourself to astral travel 12 years ago, but much harder to get out in the last 5 years. Is it just you, or is it 5G, or what? I would say that it's probably a combination of those things. Am I dating in the astral? Yes. Thank you, Fletcher. I haven't seen the telepathy tapes, but yeah, truth in plain sight. There's a lot of dating going on in the astral. Is that where two non-duality plane is? There, yes, the non-duality plane is also in the astral. Everything exists in the astral. Absolutely everything. All right. I've got to go, guys. What I mean was there's a plane where the feeling of time is non-existent. It's weird. Yes, that's in the astral as well. How many Therify sessions recommended to boost projecting ability? I mean, I recommend doing about 40 minutes a day or 40 minutes every other day of the phi ray at 60%. And I use the Therify every other day for about 40 minutes at 100%. You do advanced teaching when it comes to astral projecting. If you can astral project or if you can lucid dream, then that's where the real training comes in. I do have very advanced teachings on that. I'm putting together some courses, guys. I'm working with somebody right now to put together some courses, so just stay tuned for all that. How long have you been experiencing this reality? Like since your awakening? Well, I mean, I just got here 5 years ago, so I could say 5 years. Therify sessions, what are those? The Therify and the Phi Ray are non-invasive wellness devices that use frequency, sound, and in order for it creates an energy field around you, and it kind of like integrates with your consciousness, so you're able to heal yourself better. Yeah, you can go to phiray.com. That's PHIRAY.com. And if you want to order one, email me at astralurmah@gmail.com. Thank you, Natalie, for being here. Kirti King. Thank you. Thanks, Renegade. Appreciate all of your awesome comments, your encouraging comments. Thanks. Thanks, guys. You want to shout out Adam Kempster? 5212. I know you can shape matter from an OBE state. Have you tried that once? Put a stone in a room and shaped it. I have not tried that. I find it a little bit more difficult to manifest items and stuff in the lower density OBE states. All right. Thank you, Theo or Teo. Theo Daniel. Renegade, thank you. All right. If I didn't say hi to you, I'm saying hi now. Thank you so much. Conscious Choice. Thanks for moderating. Appreciate it. All right, you guys have a great day. I'll see you next Saturday at 3 p.m. All right, ciao.